Yes, I definitely have to disassociate myself with some of the things that I was doing and the people I was hanging out with. Like I said, it's a completely different lifestyle when I got out of here. I have to completely change my life.
My first days in recovery was very stressful and painful for me because I had been sober for 90 days and I relapsed. And this was the treatment center that I first came to, so I was more embarrassed to have to come back and face the same people because I was doing so good. And I thought they was gonna judge me, but they did, and they was very understanding and was willing to help me even more because they know that I could do it.
Well, when I first came here, I spent 6 days in detox prior to being in here, so I was a little mellowed out. You know, I knew my focus. You know, I had a little clearer head than, you know, a lot of people that first come in here and detox. So I came in here with an open mind and a good heart and stuff because I knew I had to change.
I was nervous, upset because I didn't know if I really wanted to be here. I didn't think that, okay, this place ain't really gonna help me, but I was totally wrong. I was totally wrong. And I prayed a lot. I really did. From the night before I came in here, I prayed a lot.
It was scary coming into treatment at first because, like, I'm the young guy, I'm only 18, and walking in there as 30 and 40-year-olds, that they are habitual crack users and all that, and I'm in there, and I don't think I'm that bad yet, but I used cocaine. I mean, I was bad, but I went in there, it was scary at first, but I stuck it out, and I feel a lot better now.
When I first got here, I was very distraught and upset. I had just come from a detox center, so it was still a little blurry. But as the medication wore off, I got just really emotional, crying a lot. I really wanted to go home. Felt like I didn't fit in. But it didn't take me long for that to change. Not long afterwards, I was, you know, within about 48 hours, I knew that this is where I needed to be.
And how many people in here actually had to literally be forced in here? And when I say forced, I'm talking about doctor, wife, probation officer, out of money, lights off, gas, homeless. How many people were actually forced in here? Put your hands up. In fact, you're gonna find out the majority of us are forced in. Because we will try to hang out and survive as long as we possibly can. And if you came in here on your own, it's because guess what? Huh? You're done. You're done. Who you think you fooling? House is gone, lights off, water off, am I right? Yeah, you're done. In fact, we actually come in here for shelter. We say that we want some help, but the illness talks real loud, don't it?
Yes.
No sooner than their staff member tells you you need to do this, what does that illness tell you?
No, you don't.
No, you don't. Yeah. You ain't as bad as him.
Or
her.
them.
Or them. Yeah, that was my favorite one. Or them. Or them. You better believe it. Or them. The simple way to say it is that you need to be mindful of people, places, and things. See, they tell you that all the time. Am I right? Yeah. But you never actually make sense of that for yourself. See, that's again, we're letting people just kind of talk at us. Like the gentleman that asked me about the disease. See, he wanted me to give him some flowery words that he could just take or leave one way or the other. And that's what I don't do. Because you know what? I know people have been doing that with you all along. I want to put you to work. I want you to do it just the way I had to do it. I stopped taking things at face value and started taking a good look at them.
Well, right now I'm kind of going through, like I stay with somebody that uses, and I'm like looking at that, well, even, you know, and it's like I shouldn't really put myself back there. And I work at a bar, so a restaurant bar, being a server. And it's just kind of making me really actually double think that, and maybe I really shouldn't. You know, kind of like, it's kind of like throwing a piece of meat out in front of a lion, you know, and telling it not to eat. And that's probably what I'm trying to do to myself. And shouldn't do that. It's kind of like just tempting fate there.
The only thing you have to change is everything. Everything. People, places, things. You look at it first, you know, I'm just like, that's a huge step, you know, but you gotta not run with your crowd you're running with. And I'm starting to realize they ain't my true friends, because if I'm out of money and I don't have anything to give, out the door you go, you know. They're not gonna be there to bail me out of jail unless I got money to pay them back or money to buy more dope. Places, that just runs along with everybody I was running with, you know. You can't go sit in a bar and not expect to drink, you know. You know, you go to the barber shop to get a haircut. You go to the bar, what do? You just got to change everything, your whole entire outlook and view and perspective of everything. And, you know, we have choices now. We do have, you know, we can sit there and stop and rewind that tape and look and understand, here's my choice to go this way. What's my consequences? Here's my choice to go this way. I may just have to suck it up, but I know that's a better consequence, you know?
I don't plan on going back there because it is a bad thing. If I go there, it will give me temptation, and I don't want the temptation. Everybody I know in my small community is all methamphetamine users, and I seen what it does to them, and thinking, no, that's not gonna happen to me, but it did.
For one, this time I know that I have to do everything different as far as what I did the last time, as far as like people, places, and things, because when you're in recovery, you have to totally let go of old places, people, things, old behaviors, and everything. You have to like have a new way of living, because if you have any of that old stuff in you, like stealing, cussing, trying to do alcohol, or trying to use one drug or another, you always go back to your drug of choice.
People, places, and things was to me just part of life, something that everybody experiences. But hearing it inside the treatment center, I found that people, places, and things matter a lot more than what you realize. It's that if you're going to play in those playpens, you're going to play in those playpens. I mean, there's no other way to put it.
You know, part of sobriety, too, is me getting up off my duff, going after it.
That's right.
See, most of us want somebody to spoon feed it to it.
Work for it.
Tell me what I need to do. Well, how about this? You need to follow directions. Do you know that? Yeah. You need to follow directions. What if I told you this? Don't nobody need to tell you what to do if you read the information, because it'll clearly tell you what to do.
Right.
But tell me what I need to do. He said, well, do you think it's a disease? I say, yeah. Guess what he'll say? No. When the truth of the matter is, what does he know about in the first place? He knows the fact that he put a joint in his mouth and he smoked it and he felt pretty good after that. That's about as much as we know. We really don't take the time to look at it at all. It's much easier for us to stand back, and when somebody says that we're addicted or we suffer from this disease, the first thing we say is, oh, they're just talking about me. They're pointing the finger at me. It's Boone burning bread on me. You know what? First of all, what would make you think I woke up with you on my mind this morning? I came all the way over here just to point the finger at you, right? And you, and you, and you. You know, they say addiction is laced with terminal uniqueness. We all think we're so important that everybody's out to get us, when the truth of the matter is, the only people that actually care that you are alive are your family. Do you know that? Because most of us have double-crossed, misused, and abused everything else we've come into contact with. Most people literally don't want us within 200 yards of them. But we suffer from terminal uniqueness and tell ourselves, well, you know what? They out to get me. I used to think that all the time. They out to get me. Well, they did a pretty good job of getting me, too. You want to know why? Because they sent me to the penitentiary 4 times. I'm 13-time convicted felon. There's 14 stitches over here, 8 over here, 7 on my stomach. They did a pretty good job of getting me, or did I do a pretty good job of serving myself up? And they just bought the wolf ticket. Could that really be the case? That they didn't really come to get me, I just served myself up and made myself real convenient. So for a while, especially in early sobriety, people are going to need to guide us. You need to take your anger and set it aside and relax and let someone guide you for a while until you can do it yourself. The saying in the program is fake it until you can make it. See, they know that you're having trouble with it. That's why they want you to try to relax and let somebody guide you for a while. That's what sponsors are all about. That's what meetings are all about. Because you're going to need that to stabilize yourself. Because early sobriety is boring. Am I right? It's boring. What else is it? It's lonely. Because if we're trying to do the right thing, we can no longer go the places that we had been going. So what does that leave most of us with? Nothing. Am I right? Nothing. It also knows, too, that you're guilty, insecure, indefinable fears. In fact, it's amazing how afraid we, notice what I'm saying in the way I say this. It's amazing how afraid we think we are. Well, the truth of the matter is, addiction taught you to be afraid of nothing. Remember? You looked the police straight in the face and said you wasn't going nowhere with him. You went in a dope house with a robbery in progress. Am I right? You went in anyway. Right? Am I right? In fact, if it's been on fire, you'd have went in there. Am I right? But it tells us that we're afraid when the truth of the matter is we done had plenty of practice at not being afraid of anything. Support. Why do we need support? Because when you take a look at our lives have been filled with all kind of unhealthy behaviors, decisions, once addiction, we talk about not using anymore, then all of a sudden there's a big vacuum in our lives, completely void. You're going to have to work on filling that vacuum. I asked you to give me some examples earlier about things you used to like to do. I fish all the time now. In fact, I've been caught a marlin off the coast of Cabo San Lucas, 150 pounds. I go fishing all the time. 28 years I've been working on trying to fill my life not only with healthy behaviors, healthy decisions, healthy lifestyle. What about the people that we hang with? Basically, the people we hung with were all pretty what? Unwhat? Healthy. So if we intend on living a life of sobriety, what kind of people are we going to have to focus our attention on? Healthy people. There's a saying in the Bible that goodness follows goodness. If you want good things to happen to you, what kind of people are you going to have to hang out with? Good people. If you want to go up in life, what kind of people are you going to have to hang with?
People that's going up.
People that's trying to go up. If you want to try to think positive, what kind of people are you going to have to be around? Positive people. Goodness follows goodness. Now, for a lot of us, that means that we're going to have to literally reconstruct our lives, doesn't it? Our whole life. I'm not going to say that it's hard, and I'm not going to say that it's easy. I'm going to say you can make it hard by trying to resist and do it your way. Or you can make it a little bit easier by just following directions and just doing it the way it's supposed to be done. They did not tell me that it would straighten itself out in 2 days or 3 days or 6 months. They told me that it's something that you should be constantly working on the rest of your entire life. Well, guess what? For the last 20 years or so, my life has run relatively smooth. I mean, there hasn't been any interruptions. I mean, it just kind of rolls along. But you still have to work on it day in and day out. You know, you like to consider yourself a stomped down, dedicated dope fiend. You ever tell yourself that? I'm stomped down, dedicated dope fiend. I mean, that's why I get high. She laughs. She done been there. Yeah. I mean, that's why I keep getting in all the trouble, just because I'm just stomped down, dedicated dope fiend, dedicated to getting high. Well, I want you to take that same dedication and apply it to your sobriety. Because you already have that quality about yourself. Do you realize that? Sincerity of purpose. Your purpose just happened to be what? Getting high. But you have that quality about yourself, sincerity of purpose. What you just need to really do is adjust your purpose. All mine is focused on what now? My sobriety. But getting high actually honed that quality in me, sincerity of purpose, because when I said I was going to cop, make no mistake about it, where was I going? The cop. So when I said that even though all the odds say that we stand a snowball's chance in hell at making it, what did I know for sure? That due to my addiction, I was the expert at dealing with what? Huh? An expert at dealing with what? Adversity. Because don't we make our cop money materialize every day from nothing? Didn't we get high when we weren't supposed to get high? When the whole town said they was watching us and wasn't going to let us get high, we managed to pull it off anyway, didn't we? Am I right? Did we not talk the police out of arresting us when he caught us dead to right? Dirty as all get out. We talked him out of it, am I right? Well, I take that same quality and just hone it in on my sobriety. For every 100 of us, they say, that starts this journey, 98 are going to fall, 2% going to make it. Most people, most of us looked at the 98% and panicked and said, I don't stand a chance, I'm not going to make it. The only thing I focused on was the 2%. See, that's the only group that you really want to be in, that little 2% there. What it takes to stay in that little window and in that box. The illness to teach you to look at the 98 and say it's hopeless, give up, you're not going to make it. And that's a lot of the reasons why most of us fall. But believe me, you can stay in that box. You can stay in that box. And you should practice staying in that box. Every day of my life over the last 28 years, I've practiced staying in that box. In fact, I'm practicing it now. One of the things they mentioned to me, being honest and forthright in your daily affairs. Well, I wouldn't get on a plane come 1,000 miles to lie to you. Who do you think you are? How do you think you got that special in my life? But 20 years ago when I was using, I lied to everybody all the time. So there's something literally that I had to work on, being forthright and honest in my daily affairs. I no longer go where I used to go. You can't go where you used to go and expect the results to be different. How's the results going to be any different if you go to the same place? Go to the dope house and not use. The results is going to be exactly the same. How I react. Well, that's a work in progress. I've been working on that. Don't you think there have been a lot of things that have happened over the last 28 years that have ticked me off, that haven't gone my way? What you think? Everything goes my way every day. But I knew I had the ability to adjust how I react. So I adjusted how I react. Sometimes when I'm not sure how to react, I do the next best thing, which is nothing at all. Until I can collect myself and get myself together on an intellectual level to respond appropriately. Our mothers used to say to us, sometimes if you don't know what to say, what? Don't say nothing. And let me prepare you for this. There will be people in our society that will applaud what you're trying to do. They will love you for trying to help yourself and pull your life together. But what else is there going to also be? They can't bring you down. It ain't negativity. You have to remember, people are entitled to their opinions. So what other opinions are you going to have to try to deal with? Those that don't want you within 200 yards of them. I suggest that you learn to respect those people too. You want to know why? They're entitled to their opinion. And the truth of the matter is, did we not earn our status? See, I don't try to forget that when a person chooses that they'd rather keep their distance. You know what? I earned every stripe I got. I was good for what I was good for, make no mistake about it. In fact, the truth of the matter is, thank God that I wasn't held accountable for everything that I did. Or I would have never come home from the penitentiary. I would never be standing in this spot. I would never have any semblance of a life. Be able to make adjustments with both types. Some will embrace you, some will push you away. You need to learn to live with both and respect both, because people are entitled to their opinions.
My family, my dad's dad was an alcoholic. My mom used regularly. In fact, my choice of drugs was Oxycontin, and that's my mom used. Neither one of those got clean, and they both died young. My mom died at 51. So it's rough. I've seen both sides of it, and I have the huge fear of being in that 98% instead of the 2% just because I've seen so many fail. But after hearing him talk today, I think it's because that's what I was focusing on. That's one thing he said that really clicked with me. I was like, you're right. My normal behavior is because my comfort zone is negative feelings and negative behavior. And as long as if I change my comfort zone, then I'll change my thinking. So I'm like, I've got to focus on that 2%, like you said. It's where I have that really, I'm carrying that with me out of here today, that's for sure.
I needed a change. I want to change. I have to change because there's no more chance out there for me. I don't believe. If I continue to do the things I'm doing, there's no way. And I just came in here with an open mind, receiving information and suggestions and ideas, from everybody. But what I learned the most, I can get these ideas, I can get these suggestions, and, everybody can tell me what to do and how to do it. None of them will work if I don't do it. I got to put it in action. I said, it's all about your behavior and what you do. It's 90% of your recovery. Just getting clean, 7%. 90% is what you do and your actions about it.
Because I know today that I am an addict, and there's no cure for it. But I also know I don't have to pick up, no matter what.
Addiction teaches you not to ask for help, doesn't it? Haven't you been wrestling with the fact that you've been trying to do this on your own? It don't want you to put your hand out there and say, you know what, I need some help. And the more you try to wrestle with it, guess what? The more frustrated you become because you keep failing. Am I right? Yeah. Because the truth of the matter is, especially in early sobriety, we all need help. Me included. What you think, I got this 28 years all by myself? No, I did not. There are so many people along the way that lended a helping hand, that was part of that support network, that moved me along the continuum. You got to put your hand out. There's a saying that I use. If you put your hand out and have your fist balled up, can somebody put something in it? What are you going to have to do if you want somebody to put something in your hand? Open your hand. I know you being mad at yourself, you've got your fist balled up, am I right? Please, open your hand. Open your hand. You've come halfway. At least you got your hand out. What I'm asking you to do is unball your fist and open your hand. because you'd be surprised at what people will put in it if you open it, okay? But you got to open it first. Can't nobody put nothing in it if you just keep it closed. Since you've already got it extended, go all the way with it. Open your hand. So obviously, information is important. It's of value, especially if you actually suffer from an illness that you really, literally know nothing about. See, we don't even like to tell ourselves the truth about that. Even though we got high on a continuous basis, what we basically know about it is nothing. Has anybody picked up on that? We know we put something in us and we feel pretty good after that. You know what? I use methamphetamine for an example. Meth users know that they put that meth in them and then they go wild. Am I right? They feel pretty good. And then 6 months later, they look like something out of an Andy Warhol movie. Am I right? Am I right? Teeth missing, skin falling off of them. Yeah. Got to use a space suit to touch them. Am I right? Got to put on one of them NASA space suits to go into the dope house. All right? Am I right? Am I right? I know that's true. All right? And what happens is, if you ask them, what's the deal with meth? They couldn't tell you no more than the man in the moon. They couldn't even tell you why the teeth falling out their mouth. How come you got to put on a spacesuit to shake hands with them? Wow. Why do we need to know anything about what we do? All we just know is we feel good. So we insult them when people say, well, I don't know nothing about it. Well, guess what? Some of us done had 4 decades in it and don't know nothing about it. I didn't know nothing about it after 20 years. Everything I know about addiction, I done learned since I stopped getting high. In fact, they pay me very good money to turn loose this information across this country. I own my own business, have for the last 9 years. What do I do for a living? I do this. I'm an addiction consultant all across the country. Do some for business and industry, probation and parole. This is my livelihood. But also, I have to be sure of the information that I'm turning loose. And in 28 years' time, if some of it was in question, don't you know somebody would have said something by now? Especially if I'm talking to the President of the United States of America's wife. Am I right? But now, I don't want you to blow me up bigger than life, because you have to remember, it was people in the field that gave the information to me. And my attitude, see, was right. I just listened to what they had to say. I didn't see them as the enemy. In fact, I stopped passing judgment on them, period. I listened to what they had to say. And believe me, I've listened to everybody, from Father Joe Martin clean down to David Ohms. You know, and all those people are leaders in the field. I know them all personally, have got some information from all of them. But basically, all the information has literally been the same about what we need to do. So obviously, attitude has got to be a big part of it. You know, we were talking earlier. One of you asked me, he said, well, Delbert, do you think addiction is a disease? I know it's a disease. I looked at all the information around it. In fact, believe it or not, the very same information that was available to him. Am I right? Especially if you're here in treatment. They got information galore about this illness all around. But he'll ask me, do you think that addiction is a disease? And here I asked him, what does he think? Because if he wants to prove to him, all the information is laying right there in front of him. But it's easier for us if somebody points the finger and say, you know what, you're an addicted person. Then you know what I can say? Boone, you burning bread on me. See, that's Boone talking about me. I ain't no addicted person. Well, how about you have enough courage to pick up some of the information and read it yourself and make your own decision whether or not you think it's a disease? Because all the information that we need to know about it has been available for over 50 years. I know it's a disease. You want to know how I know? Look how it treats everybody. It treats everybody just the same. Everybody in here came from a different walk of life, didn't you? And you see where you're sitting, don't you? Everybody in here had different hopes and dreams, am I right? And you see where you're sitting. Everybody in here thought they was different, am I right? Am I right? And you see where you're sitting. The only thing I know that's actually capable of doing something like that is a disease. Because believe me, when you have cancer, it treats everybody the same way. When you have diabetes, it treats everybody the same way. When you have leukemia, it treats everybody the same way. I find it awful ironic that everybody in here is sitting in a chair, but somebody will ask me, do you think it's a disease? What the hell do you think is what I want to say.
Right?
What do you think? You know, when I remember you told me on break that you failed, you know, that you relapsed, that you used again. And check this out. She said, I was trying to outrun my pain. Well, the truth of the matter is, you knew what to do to help yourself. You know how I knew that? You just started spitting it out right then. So you knew that back then. You want to know why you used again? Because you wouldn't do those things. They had nothing to do with the pain you were talking about.
Right. I wanted to get out.
Because those things equip you to deal with those instances. If there was some pain in your life, what did they tell you and instruct you to do? Do what? She's whispering now. Check this out. She's whispering now. Does anybody know? There's a reason why she's whispering. Does anybody know why she's whispering? Huh?
But she knows the answer.
I'm going to see who's sharp in here. Why is she whispering? There's a reason why she's whispering. Huh?
Scared.
Shh, shh, shh. The illness don't want her to tell herself the truth. You notice what I said? The illness don't want her to tell herself the truth. Because if she tells herself the truth, she'll realize she didn't have to use in the first place.
That's right.
See, the illness been giving her the sorrow as an excuse. You used because you felt real bad. She fell for it. You know how I know she fell for it? Because that's what she told me outside. I used because I had this sorrow that I was trying to escape from. When the truth of the matter is, you used because you didn't do what them people asked you to do. Because you knew exactly what to do.
Yes, I did.
There you go. There you go. Now check this out. If you don't do what you're supposed to do when you're feeling that kind of sorrow again, guess what's going to happen? You're going to use again. But don't be telling yourself you don't know what to do. Oh, this is just so bad. I don't know what to do. You know exactly what to do. So get up off your
Ass.
and get to getting. All right?
Right.
And get to getting. See, because I don't play like I don't know what to do. Yeah, I do know what to do. The real question is, am I going to do it?
Right.
But I don't try to fake myself. Oh, I'm so confused. I don't know what to do. This one is so bad. Oh, this is the big one. It's the big one I got to go use. See, I don't even play that game with myself. Because there ain't no such thing as the big one. Now, you can use it for the excuse if you want to and go get down. But there ain't no such thing as the big one. That's just you using. Because it tells you what to do if there's some extreme sorrow in your life. Did it not tell you to get to the nearest meeting you could get to? Did it not tell you to get with your sponsor? Did it not tell you to go to 3 meetings a day if you have to get through that sorrow? Did it not tell you sometimes not to react at all since you don't know what to do and have never been through this before? Yeah. So don't be acting like we don't know what to do. I do not play that game with myself. I don't know what to do. I know exactly what to do. And I just choose to get on to doing it, all right? Because you sure can't stop the incident from coming, am I right?
Right.
It came, didn't it?
Yeah.
You're the one that just blew your part.
Yeah.
You blew an, believe it or not, you blew an opportunity to grow. Because you grow when you face the adversity, don't panic and don't wilt. So you don't change the adversity, you just faced it head on, like you were supposed to. And guess what the reward you got for it? You grew as a human being and a person. When you use mind-altering chemicals, they stop you from growing as a person. That's why you experience so much trouble. There is no spiritual growth. There is no psychological growth. There is no emotional growth. You have to work on growing. There are a lot of things I've had to deal with the last 28 years that I don't want to deal with, but I dealt with them. And I don't walk around feeling sorry for myself, because you know what? Self-pity is not a luxury that recovering people can afford themselves.
That's right. That's right.
And I don't think the world revolves around me. You know what? I'm a part of the world. I just occupy a little space in it. I don't know as much as I thought I know. I've got an illness that's trying to kill me, that I need to constantly be on my toes about, because sometimes it makes me say things that I'm not even aware of myself. Because you notice how a voice fell? It fell for a reason. When you actually study the illness, you find out that it walks, it talks, and it breathes. And it does all of that through you. See, you fighting right now to become you. But the illness don't want you to be you. What does it want you to be? It. You better believe it. It wants you to believe it. And the job is to always be aware of that and to be you. But now the trick is when they talking all those terms and stuff to you, remember, you got to make them make sense to yourself.
Right.
And that's what I want you to work on, making them make sense to yourself. He tells me that addiction is compulsive, unmanageable behavior characterized by a loss of control. All right, so what does that mean? That's what I want you to tell yourself. What does that mean to me? See, because when I found out that I started making things have meaning to me, then all of a sudden things started getting clear. Yeah, I started looking past them pretty flowery words and stuff. I'm like, well, how does that break down? Yeah. Compulsive, unmanageable behavior characterized by a loss of control. Well, you know what? Yeah, you're lying ass, cheating ass, stealing ass, double-crossing ass, to be watched ass, funky ass, need to be watched ass, fool. Yeah. Yeah. And then it got clear to me why everybody was backing up off me. See what I'm saying? Yeah. How come I was homeless and stuff? Yeah. Got real clear then. I had to make it. I mean, you know, they talk to you about behavior. Well, what is behavior?
You do.
You know, where I go, what I do, how I react. That's what it is. Okay? So you got to make those things make sense to you. Once you start making them make sense to you, I can guarantee you, you will make the appropriate decision. You won't even have to worry about it. But you got to make them make sense to you.
Right.
And don't play games with yourself. Like you found out. You knew all the time.
Yep.
You just wanted to do it your way when you got the bad news. And you ended up using.
And for one, I just went to treatment because it was one of my stipulations for being on probation. So with the 5 years that I was clean, I still wanted to get high every day.
You know what? there's a difference between being sober and being dry.
Right.
You were dry.
Right.
Because when you're sober, you change the way you do business with the world. So you weren't sober.
Right.
You was just dry, which means the only thing was missing was the drug.
Right.
The behavior and the attitude was exactly the same.
Right.
And that's why you ended up using again. See, when I see somebody, I'm going to give you an example. When somebody's standing in front of me now and drop money, I tap them on the shoulder, pick the money up, tap them on the shoulder, and give them their money back. Whereas 20 years ago, I wasn't about to do no shit like that. I couldn't even bring myself to do nothing like that. See what I'm saying? It's out the question. Or if I'm in a store and somebody gives me too much change, I'll go back in and give them the $1 or $2, whatever it is, back. Whereas 28 years ago, he's looking at me like, damn, boo, yeah. Because you know what? You got to practice being honest and forthright in your daily affairs. Which means you got to be straight up. That don't make you a punk. See, we have a tendency to think that makes us a punk because we went back and gave somebody the $2 back extra. That don't make you a punk. Yeah. That just says that you have some personal integrity. And you know what else it really said? I don't need no handout. You know what? Getting high taught me how to survive. I don't need no handout. If I need $2, I'm capable of making $2. I'd rather do it that way than to take a handout. Need no handout. I need $2. You know what? I'm capable of making it my very own. Myself. Period. And I don't even try to pretend like I'm not. I don't need the $20 that the person dropped in front of me. You know what? I can make it myself. You got to practice it. And notice what the words are. Practice. Because just like he was looking at me, I know it's abnormal to you. He's like, boom, that's the craziest thought. No, that's why I said we got to practice it.
Practice on quite a few things.
Yeah, we got some work to do. We got some work to do. And it's practicing. And I still practice it today. I can summarize by saying, I didn't use today, not because I wouldn't like to. See, I'm a dope fiend just like you. I'm still in love with the thought of getting high, even after 28 years. The only reason I didn't use today is because I don't like what happens after you use.
That's right.
Lights off, gas off, water off, phone off, treatment centers, no house, no cars, no dogs, no money. See, and I don't try to play games with that, nor hide that from myself. That when you use, those are all the things that go with it. And nobody, not anybody that I've seen on the face of this earth, and you can be Whitney Houston. Yeah. You could be Lawrence Taylor, Daryl Porter, Lonnie Smith, Betty Ford, Liza Minnelli, Elizabeth Taylor, Janis Joplin, James Dean, Michael Jackson, Ben Affleck. You can be anybody, and you're not going to sidestep what goes with it. And if you don't believe it, just study it and draw your own conclusions. Because it sure did all of those people the same. See, it didn't care anything about Elvis Presley's $40 million. It killed him. It didn't care anything about Richard Pryor's ability to make people laugh, because it had him running down the Sunset Boulevard on fire. Yeah. It didn't care anything about Michael Jackson being worth $1 billion, because it moonwalked him right to a treatment center. It didn't care anything about Betty Ford being the president's wife. It didn't care anything about Ben Affleck's promising acting career. It didn't care anything about Dwight Gooden. And by the way, did anybody see the pictures of Dwight Gooden about a month and a half ago when he was in court? Whoa! Look bad, Doc. I mean, real bad. And you see what he chose. He could have went home. They was going to even give him probation one more time. Does anybody know what he chose? Jail. He chose jail. Because you know what the deal? You know what? He's tired of himself. That's right. He's sick of himself. He knows, you know what? He's been trying to do it all alone, ain't been able to do it yet. So what did he opt to do? Just lock himself down. See, but that also tells me, too, see, he thinks it's hopeless at this point. He don't know he's sitting on the wherewithal to pull it off. Just like y'all are. But the illness wants you to think that it's hopeless. So you'll keep right on using. Well, it don't look like it's hopeless to me, because as I look out at you, I can clearly see you coming back to life. I suggest you take that and run with it. I no longer act like life ain't important to me. You know what? You better believe it is. And I'm trying to stay here as long as I possibly can. And I always conduct myself accordingly, like I'm trying to stay here. I don't put myself in harm's way. Want to know why? I did that for 20 years. I had enough of that. In fact, if you put yourself in harm's way long enough, guess what will happen to you? You'll get harmed. You'll get harmed. As Doc found out, okay? You'll get harmed. So I'm conscious of where I go, what I do, how I react, which sums up my behavior, and then I take a good look at my attitude. What can I adjust to make my attitude work in a healthy manner as opposed to an unhealthy manner? See, because sobriety is not about being unhealthy. Just because somebody is not watching me, I still have to do the right thing. Because if I cheat, guess what I'm going to end up doing? Using again. Do you know that? Sobriety is about being true to yourself. I don't play games with myself. Yeah, thoughts are getting high, rush in my head sometimes, but guess what other thoughts come rushing in there right behind it? 14 stitches, 8 over here, penitentiary 4 times. Yeah, they come floating right on in behind it. But for a minute, they'll catch my attention. I'll look up like, oh, there it is. And then that joint will come crashing in behind it. That 2 years and a day. And then it'll subside. I'll get back on stride. But the thoughts come all by themselves. You need to learn to live with that. They're going to come the rest of your entire life. Now, the beauty of sobriety and recovery is this, is that the longer you stay clean and dry, the further the duration comes between the thoughts and the intensity starts to lessen. See, early on, I thought of cocaine and Dilaudid often, with a great deal of intensity. Last 5, 10 minutes, half an hour. Now, they very seldom come at all, and the intensity ain't a good pimple. Do you know that? Ain't a good pimple.